So I want to give a warm welcome out to all of you guys that have logged in to watch this um, lesson, this lecture. And I apologize in advance if I say a lot or if I rattle on about something that is not relative or relevant to our class or anything we're learning. That's called a tangent. You'll soon learn that tangents are not just found in dialogue, but there are things called design tangents as well. So forgive me if I go on any one of those, and I'll try to keep my thoughts and my words like straight and clear and linear. Although my mind does not think linear, I approach things with a sort of a shotgun type approach where I'm like sort of everywhere. So if you don't see a linear approach to this class, feel free to approach me, or we'll meet in a Zoom meeting at any time, and you can let me know how I could make that better for you guys. That's total sincerity. I want to make this experience as easy as I can for you guys. So yeah, this is MAD 206. It is a introductory course to photography that's required for a couple of your tracks that you guys go into later on in this department of media arts design and technology. And my hope is that a lot of the things you learn in here will carry on, whether you use them as a profession or not, or whatever you do in life. I sort of think photography is like learning to cut hair well. Once you learn it and you can do it, anytime you need to for anything, you can do it, whether it be out of your garage, whether it be in a salon, whether it be opening up for yourself and being an entrepreneur. Doesn't matter. Once you've got this skill and you can do some of these things, my hope and my promise is you can sort of make some income from it. I have since I was 27 when I first started, and it's been a long time that I've been doing this, and I'm still actually cashing in on that skill. So let's get started a little bit. This first class is going to be really light, you guys, meaning there's not going to be a whole lot of heavy lifting or any kind of introduction to mechanics or anything like that right away. So if you're jonesing for all those kinds of things, you'll just have to wait a week or so, and we'll get right into those. I believe in getting into class, sort of starting class in a very gradual fashion to promote this. Got some ad placement here. I sponsor Dr. Pepper. They sponsor me, and so I have to hold this up and show it every time I take a sip. I get paid. It's like clicks, you know how it goes. Very refreshing drink. God's nectar, they call it. Anyway, we're not going to hit hard and get right into this. What we're going to do is going to go gradually, and the first thing I'm going to introduce you guys to are some of the paths in photography. Much like each of us are all very unique, and we come at the world in a very different way, in a very unique way. We've all got our own ideas on things with the world, with how things go, our own political ideas, our own theologies, literally everything. We're all very unique, and that is reflected also in photography. There are not hard, fast rules for what kind of photography you'll be. You might branch out and be in multiple different categories, but there's something literally for everyone. Okay, so just because you think, oh, I'm not a very good photographer, or oh, I am a good photographer, it doesn't really matter. There's something that everybody can do and be good at. It just takes a lot of work. I'll have to tell you right off the bat, my gift is not art or photography. I've always been sort of decently good at art, but I was told in college that I should not pursue a art career. That was here at Chico State, and because I couldn't draw super well, my gift, or what I'm good at, like innately, is language. I love languages. I studied Latin in high school. I took French. I've studied Spanish. I've taken Italian, and I've taken German. I love them all. I speak Italian fluently still, and my Spanish is okay, but my French is enough to get around and not look like a jerk in Paris. I've never been treated poorly there because my French has been good enough to like at least do small basic things. But yeah, language, you guys, is my gift. That's what I was born to do, I feel like. And photography, I sort of picked it up later in life, much older than you guys. And I don't think I really became evenly decently good at it until I was about 15 years into it. That's when I became good enough at like your guys' level. So it took me 15 years to get to the level you guys are at now. Call me a slow learner, whatever you want to call it. Or maybe you guys are just advanced and you were born with cameras in your hands in the way of smartphones. You've been doing this your whole lives. And so some of this stuff comes supernaturally to you. Love it. Love it. You guys will be killer. Okay. So let's start off and see some of the little things and some of the pathways that we can find in photography. And your quiz is based on this, you guys, this week. So I just want to let you know that's there. So sort of pay attention a little bit. And I've taken the quiz questions just right out of here. Okay. So if you look at this image right off the bat, you'll see that this is a photograph, right? Or is it video? Or is it a GIF? I like to call it GIF, but I've heard and I've checked Google and the real pronunciation is GIF. Or is it a GIF? What is this? That's one of the questions of today is what is photography? Photography has become and morphed into so many different things. It's cross platforms into video. It's taken on a life itself and it's crossed into typography. Photography is literally everywhere. Okay. And all the elements we're going to learn in this class, composition, lighting, how to process your images, those will apply all across the board to everything you do. Okay. Again, another shot, landscape, right? Except for the sky is moving. So this could be a cinemagraph where they do a little bit of video and have a freeze frame that they hold and mask out. Yeah, this is a photograph. Just because it's moving does not make it not a photograph, right? So there's 6 photographer types that I've sort of looked at, and I found this online and really enjoyed it. And I thought they broke down the photographer types pretty well. So let's go look and see you guys a little bit about which photographer types are there, what photographer type you might be if you do photography already, or maybe you have this innate feeling that you sort of like or gravitate toward this type of photography. The first one's the hunter and gatherer, right? Sort of a primitive person. They're a street shooter, right? They catch moments and things on the fly. They're super dynamic. Basically, what they're doing is they're looking for stuff. They're like on a visual or a photo scavenger hunt, and they're out looking for all kinds of interesting things to shoot. There's almost no production or post-production, and they may do a little bit of stuff here and there, with cropping and maybe a black and white conversion, but that's it. They're sort of purists, right? And they basically shoot, life as it happens. Some examples of this are Henri Cartier-Bresson, Andre Kertzis, Elliot Irwit, and all the Magnum photojournalists. Okay, they were all hunters and gatherers. They ran out in the world and hunted and gathered all these photos and almost collected them, right? They were literally hunting photos in the urban and sort of the urban cityscapes, okay? This is an example of a hunter and gatherer moment, right? You're literally out there in the environment. Your camera is the sphere. Your people are the food or the prey, right? And you're just out preying on everybody. You're literally trying to either gather up stuff and gather images, or you're out hunting people, basically is what you're doing. Okay, you're sneaky, you're sly. People don't notice you, you blend in. Vivian Meyer, we're going to cover her in class. She was another one of these hunters and gatherers. Okay. So there's the director. Now, I think I consider myself more the director. I do more studio photography where everything is controlled, right? A little bit of a control freak here. We sometimes have a crew. I try to make the frame perfect. I'm fine with using post-production. This is where the paid professionals, product photographers and fine art and stuff, where we make the money is as the directors usually. Examples are Annie Leibovitz, Irving Penn, Karsh and Nigel Barker. Nigel Barker being a fashion photographer, Annie Leibovitz doing a lot of narrative and conceptual photography. Okay, Irving Penn doing portraits. This is a very controlled studio shot, right? Everything is controlled. Everything's directed. Everything's sort of staged. Much of the work we see on Instagram these days. Everything's staged. Like this pose where my hand's by my hair. That. Staged. Okay? And you know you're going to do that pose before you even do it. Super directing. There's the Sportsman. Sort of a hunter and gatherer, but it's very, very specific, right? They're like shooting wildlife, sports, or like something newsworthy. It takes planning a little bit. And they get up in the morning. Like wildlife photographers, they get up early in the morning. They camp out for weeks and weeks. I can't do that. I'm just not sure the payoff's worth me being out like 6 weeks to take a picture of a bear. And I like showering and stuff. And these guys are just, they live like in little camps and stuff in tents and try not to move. I mean, I would get jittery. I think I have restless leg syndrome. So I'd literally be sitting there like tapping my legs and waiting for stuff to happen, or tapping my feet. Some examples of these guys are Franz Lanting and Neil Leifer. Another example is Nick Brant, who we'll cover in this class. He is a wildlife guy. Okay. It's not one of Nick's photos. And actually, I don't even think this photo is good at all. But it is a wildlife photo. So there's that. We'll see Nick Brant's photos and you guys will flip out. He's amazing. The Illustrator. Images captured are just a starting point. They're just the raw materials of the creation, right? They basically rely on post-production. It's sort of like recipes in cooking. Yeah. So the photographs they take, they're really good compositors and using Photoshop, and they just take like various ingredients and put them all together and use those ingredients to create all kinds of different stuff. There's a guy, what is his name? Alex. I think he's Russian. There's a Russian compositor named Alex Koshelkov that we'll cover in this class. There's a friend of mine named Eric Almas who graduated a couple years before me from the Academy of Art. He's fantastic. They do tons and tons of flipping post-production, okay? They shoot multiple shots. They add this stuff together. Highly, highly stylized, highly polished. They're photography masters and editing masters. Okay? That's the Illustrator. Like that. I mean, there's no way that mushroom's that big, right? If it were, sometimes mushrooms have properties. Yeah. There's the Explorer, right? This is a sort of a hunter that for subjects that don't move, right? They're usually landscape people, like landscape and architecture people, and sort of still lifes a little bit, but they've got time to figure things out. They're slow moving, they're methodical, like sort of like scientists. They correct for like lens distortion and angle distortion, and make things perfect with architecture and interiors. They're amazing. Eugene Atkett, Bernice Abbott, and Ansel Adams are some of these explorer types. Okay. Landscape photo, right? Wait till the perfect time of day, wait for the clouds to pass. They really wouldn't believe in taking the clouds and putting them in from another shot, right? They'd wait and wait and wait until the clouds came. Again, patience is really not one of my things. So this probably wouldn't be me. I would take this and as walking by, and if the clouds look like that, I'd be like, chink, done, bam, got it, out. And then I would go chill in that little house down there. I'd probably go explore the church in the background, the very right. And I'd probably jump in that canoe and go fishing or something. But I wouldn't sit here waiting for the right shot. Just not going to happen. It's not me, right? Also, I'd remove the feathery trees from the upper left corner because those sort of bother me in post-production. But this person probably wouldn't do that. This landscape photographer probably wouldn't do that. And then there's the Anarchist. A hip shooter, snap shooter, taking discordant capture of the world out of windows while walking, often uncomposed or at least not formally composed. often with Dutch angles, blurry subjects, and harsh lighting. Gary Winogrand is one of these guys, and there's a bunch of more we're going to cover when we talk about street photography. And you're really going to enjoy street photography. It's super fun, especially now that nobody's hardly on the street. Okay, it won't be super, maybe that'll be a drawback. We'll have to see. Okay, this is one of the shots of Gary's. Look at that, blurry, out of focus. He's really looking for mood here, and movement and gesture. Yeah, I dig this, even though I would probably tell them to hold still so I could shoot it right. Right, meaning in focus and exposed properly. Again, that's me as like the director, the sort of the technician, and I see that as a problem. But I also value this as beautiful as well, and I don't hate on other photographers' types or styles, because I think there's everybody's got a sort of a specialty and a way they like to present art, and I think this, to me, this feels very artistic. It makes me feel something, and I think as long as an image makes you feel something and you look at it, it's successful. Okay, so how many different types of photography, types of things can you do? Well, I mean, come on, like literally there's something for everybody, right? Look at all these stinking categories of stuff you can do. There's loads of stuff. And drones just sort of came about within the last 5 to 8 years and are starting to like really kick some butt. Like drones are amazing. And those weren't even here before. So there's going to be some other opportunities for photography, I think, that are going to be added to this list. But there's literally, more? Oh, heck. Stock, there's scientific through microscopes that take pictures of bugs, like with macro lenses and stuff, and stack 100 or 200 shots over and over and over on each other with a macro lens. Stacking is amazing. Focus stacking, that's what we're talking about, right? There's travel stuff. Every blogger on Instagram is a travel photographer. That's what they're doing, right? They're also slightly a portrait photographer, because if they're included in the shot and they look good and they're trying to make themselves look good, that's sort of a portrait thing, right? And a lifestyle and advertising, because they're trying to sell stuff. So all these things, as you see, sort of blend together too, right? So here's the Photographic Paths. Beth Moon shot Odin's Cove. This was a series she did on platinum palladium prints. It took her, she shot this over a couple of years. I went and saw this in San Francisco at an art gallery down there. I can't remember which one, because there's several, and during grad school I went to all kinds of them. But the prints, you guys, like these look muddy and dumb. Like I'm sorry. I ripped these off her website and used them without permission, which is not a great thing. But the ones in the museum, when you looked at them, because the platinum palladium process for printing, only a couple people do it. And I even got a hold of the guy that did it in San Francisco and asked him. He said it'd be like $400 to $500 a print for one print. And the reason is because they look like they're metal. They're hand printed and on paper, but yet somehow, I got to research this. But somehow the ink, or not the ink, somehow the emulsions work out where it renders this like sort of like this effect that looks super metallic. And so I wanted to like touch it. Like even everything, all the signs said, don't touch this, don't touch these prints. And I couldn't help myself, but I wanted to reach out my finger and just like touch it to see what the metallic prints did. I didn't touch them. But they're amazing. They're literally some of those most beautiful prints I'd ever seen. I wouldn't pay thousands and thousands of dollars for them because they're ravens. And I probably wouldn't put these birds up in my house. But just the prints themselves were flipping unreal beautiful. Okay? So she's a fine art photographer. And she goes and does stuff like this. And then prints it, right? And has this series, and she's got this mission statement, artist statement, where she pours her heart into it over the course of like years. Okay? And then she goes and shows it in galleries and hopes people buy it. That's what fine art photographers do. Not many of them make money. Okay? A lot of them pour your Starbucks coffee when you go get your Starbucks, right? So those are the ones that are doing stuff like that. So yeah, not a lot of them make it big, but they do what their heart dictates them, and they're not really in it for commercial like stuff, like for a payoff. Now Gregory Kreutzen, he's a guy that does these narratives, right? And he's a very commercial photographer. He sets these big sets up with big lights. It looks like his sets and stuff look like a Hollywood stage. It's like literally unreal, okay? And then he finds these people and he has them pose in these things. He's the director. He is the epitome of the director, okay? And you stare at these photos, you're like, what is going on here? Why is she upset? Why is he upset? What is he doing? Why aren't they looking at each other? What just happened, right? The door's open. And then we have this, right? This image, super creepy. Why is she laying like that? Well, maybe she's just getting comfortable, right? But who knows? There's VHS things on the floor. There's a Monopoly thing back there. The old man's clearly drinking. They looks like they started a cribbage game, but who knows? Just sort of a weird set, right? So is this. What's the baby doing there? Why doesn't she cover up? The door's open. There's snow on the ground. Why is she looking at it like that? I mean, cover the baby up for Pete's sakes. It's probably freezing. Does she want the baby? What happened? Or this. Look in the freaking mirror. Yeah, over there to the right. That kid's there with his grandpa or whoever that is. Super creepy. He sets these stages up, you guys, and puts these things in motion and has this like this vision of how he wants this stuff to play out and what he wants you to look at. And man, I tell you, he creates some really unreal photos that we do not know what's going on. And I think that's the beauty of some of his work. We have no idea what's going on in these shots. He supplies us with like 80% of the information, and he doesn't tell us the ending. We're left to make up the 20% ourselves. But they're beautiful. The lighting's beautiful. The messages are weird. Some of them are very haunting. None of them are smiling. Everybody's having a shitty day. I mean, why are these images so compelling? I don't know, but he sells them for about $500,000 to $1 million a piece. So some people like them. Amy Vitale. Okay, she is a sort of like an adventure type photographer, and she goes around and covers. She's sort of like photojournalism, covers stuff for National Geographic. The woman is famous. She's literally everywhere that there's chaos or controversy or wars in the country, and she's covering people and the things they do. And the woman is amazing. Like, she doesn't stage any of this stuff. It's all caught, which is also amazing because I suck at this. I want to stage everybody and say, hey, you two running down the thing. Can you guys can you not hold your brother's head with your hand like that? And hey, you dude coming with the bike, move out of the way. I want a shot of just these two and I want them clear. I try to direct these guys. But look at that. Look how beautiful this is. The woman has some serious skills, and her lighting isn't set up and stuff. She finds this stuff and shoots it as she gets it, which is really hard because, I mean, man, if you want to control lighting and help it out, you run into some serious problems here with this dappled light. But the woman makes it work. Super good. Beautiful image here. Look at the orange and blue in the water reflected by the orange and blue on the woman, and the way she's standing looks sort of resembles the branch she's holding on to. Man, Amy, she kills it. She's killing it. This is beautiful too. All these cute little kids. Man. There's Mert and Marcus. These guys are fashion photographers. And they do all kinds of fashion-y work with gels and lights and studio work, right? They use Photoshop like crazy. They mix media. They do selective color. They build outrageous, crazy, expensive sets. Beautiful. They shoot celebrities, i.e. Natalie Portman. They're provocative sometimes. These days they're a lot provocative. Okay? You'll see those guys in every fashion magazine everywhere. Mert and Marcus are one of the biggest names all over the place, and they work a lot. Now, Joey Lawrence, or also known as Joey L., I've been following him since he's been 16. He started his garage in Canada, shooting like friends' bands and stuff, and then he shot bigger bands, and then he shot Twilight. And then he shot It's Always Sunny. And now he shoots everything. And does a lot of personal projects on the side, too, to bring awareness to people in suffering countries. The dude's the stud, man. And not to mention, I really like his Canadian accent. So if you ever listen to any of his videos or interviews, he's super cool. Like, he's super, super cool. There he is. See how cool he is? That is the definition of smolder. Smolder, dude. Chapped lips, rugged jawline, shaved head, unshaven face. I mean, nice jacket, right? I mean, dude, he looks amazing. I wouldn't mind looking like that. But this is his work. This is some of his first attempts at some social photography after he started being wealthy enough to buy some amazing gear. This, I think, was for the Discovery Channel. I think it was an Abe Lincoln. There's his Twilight, his breakout, where he shot all the Twilight stuff. Yeah, now he's shooting stuff for Nat Geo. Amazing shot. Although I think I could have shot that. Just saying. That's not that hard. This is freaking amazing. I saw this in an ad when I was coming home from Italy a couple years back after staying over there during winter break. And I saw this in what was it? In the airline hangar as I was waiting for my flight. And I was like, dude, that looks like Joey shot that. And I went and looked on his website, and he did. He shot this too. I have no idea who these people are. But the lighting setup for this was nuts. I found the behind the scenes, and there's probably 50 lights to light this. It was crazy. Oh, he did this too. I watched the show. It's amazing. He shot this also. There's Hawkeye Huey. He's sort of a little adventure. I think in this photo he's like 8. He shoots a Polaroid. There he is right there. Less than 8. He's probably 6. There he is, hanging out with dudes, shooting his photos. His dad works for National Geographic. Hawkeye Huey is the youngest person ever to be published in National Geographic. He's super happy about that, right? You can tell he brings his little Polaroid camera everywhere. Hanging out with the cowboys. Not bad, right, for a 6-year-old? It's got a little bit of Dutch tilt going on back there. The horizon's jacked and looks sort of interesting. He's trying to add interest to it. Good call. Or he could have tripped and fallen and photographed this. Still sort of cool. But this is his work. He got upset that his arms weren't long enough to photograph himself with his Polaroid for a selfie. So he made this contraption, which is supposed to, if he pulls the string, it's supposed to push the button on his Polaroid so he can photograph himself. So he can make, take self-portraits. Clever little kid, right? There he is. I think he has more followers than 225K now. Yeah, he is 7. Okay. He's probably 8 or 9 now. But yeah, I think his dad manages his account. He does. Cute kid, right? Adventure. Erwin Olaf, much like Gregory Kreutzen, but he has more of a vintage vibe to all of his stuff. Love this guy. I love Erwin Olaf. And look at this palette. This color palette is killer. It's like, it's just this pastel color palette everywhere. It's beautiful. And he goes from low contrast pastels to high contrast and desaturated. Beautiful work, man. Good job. This, I love the red, green, yellow, brown, red, and yellow, brown alteration in the shot. I love that 2 of the women aren't looking at us and 2 of the women are. Just interesting stuff, right? This is interesting. We can discuss why this is interesting later. Just the guy's got some just really interesting work. And it means something, right? We look at it and try to figure out, what does this mean? What's going on here? What's happening? Beautifully lit. This is a craftsman to be able to light this indoors like this is nuts. And make it all look beautiful like this. Again, he goes into that low contrast pastel palette that's absolutely beautiful. Very soothing, calm, nostalgic. Sort of sad. Well, I mean, not just because she's crying. Why are all his women sad? Literally everybody's sad. Sucks. She's poured tea for herself. Man, that's a bummer. And the other chair is sort of pulled out. The guys don't look real. They look like they've been drawn in or something, like they're illustrations, right? Don't you think so? I mean, the guy, look at that guy's face. He doesn't look real. He might be real, but he looks like he's been drawn in, like he's a cartoon character. And so does she a little bit, now that I think about it. What happened here, right? That's the question we have to ask Erwin. What's going on here? Not to mention, you guys, his props are on point. If you've noticed in the last photos, the props this guy finds for this stuff are amazing. The props themselves must be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And this one, what's going on here? Oh, we'll talk about this in class. Because there's some serious vibe going on in this one. Soak this in for a second. Just digest this. What's happening? Take in everything, right? Take in the her shirt sort of pulled out underneath her sweater, her gaze that looks a little bit deflated and distant, and sort of what's that called? Like that 1,000-mile stare. Look at the guy. That may have seemed weird right now when I was licking my lips. My mouth is dry and I keep drinking my Dr. Pepper. Has nothing to do with this shot. Just want to make that clear, you guys. So some of you may have picked up on that. But look at him. He's staring at her. She's looking away. They got a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the Pythagorean theorem on the board. But it looks like they're studying something else besides math to me. Something else is up, right? And then we have this one. Again, you guys, pay special attention to the props. These props are amazing. I mean, to be able to get that like old hair dryer, you know, guys and gals, when you go get your hair dried, have you ever seen anything that looks remotely like that in the past 100 years? No. The fact that's there is awesome. This set is amazing. Truly a director we're looking at. There's Nick Brant. Remember I told you we'd talk about Nick Brant? God, I love Nick Brant. Look at these images. This guy turned wildlife photography on its head. He takes pictures of animals like he would, like people take pictures of portraits and group photos. Some of these are infrared and some of these are just black and white. But look at that. And he shoots them with an 8x10 camera, which is what Ansel Adams used to walk around Yosemite. Not super conducive to shooting animals, okay? They weigh like 30 to 50 pounds. They only shoot one image at a time. You have to manually focus. You got to cover your head with a freaking black blanket. Lots of stuff. Not conducive to wildlife. Like that. Gorgeous little fuzzy bunny. Look at his fur. I mean, it makes you want to reach out and like just touch his fur a little bit and then have him take your head off your neck for touching his fur, right? Look at that. Beautiful. These are beautifully composed. Absolutely spectacular. Could you do this with a digital camera? No, you could not. Because the detail in an 8x10 camera has not yet been surpassed by anything digital yet. We may get there someday, but so far, it hasn't happened. Infrared here. Gorgeous shot. Gorgeous shot of these cheetahs. Little baby cheetahs with their mother. I think it's their mother. Gosh, you need to know a lot about this. Like, I can't remember I think cheetah mothers raise their young and the cheetah males. Not sure if they go off or not or what. Lion. Beautiful. Look at that framing. Oh, gorgeous. Are you kidding me? Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Infrared shot. Shot this with a 50-pound camera that he had to set up and focus. Huh. What? He had this book. I have this book, actually. It's beautiful. He went and did and put animal cardboard like pop-up things of the animals he shot all over the places where he shot them or close to where he shot them originally, and shows what the landscape looks like now after humans have been there. And it's amazing. You see this? And no, these aren't photoshopped in. He actually printed these and went and put these up and tried to match the locations, the horizon lines and stuff. It sort of shows where and how the land has changed since he photographed the animals in these locations. Crazy, right? Love Nick Brant, man. I love his work. Just super compelling. I mean, the message behind it is amazing. I think I'm down. Like, I like wildlife. One of his assistants snapped this shot of them setting this stuff up. He told everybody, Nick told everybody in the crew, please don't take any pictures of like anything going on. He made them sign all non-disclosure NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, so they wouldn't post or do anything. And then when Nick got home, he got a bunch of flack where people said they could tell that his images were photoshopped, that he didn't really actually do this project like he claimed. The assistant found one of his snapshots that he shot, like I think it was either on his phone or something, and found it and gave it as proof, and everybody shut the heck up. So let's talk pay a little bit, right? This is the pay as of last year, I think it's 2 years old. CNN for photojournalists pay about $65 or $650 for a day rate, plus $150 for editing. That's pretty good if they hire you to go out in the war and stuff and risk your life for under $1,000. That's not bad. Harper's Magazine, $500 plus, $1,000 in the conflict zone. That's pretty good. Nat Geo is about $650 plus. New York Times, Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal, all around $400 a day if they end up using your stuff, and if you get assignments and you're competing with everybody else that wants to shoot for them also. So good luck, right? If you work 2 days a week, that's $800 a week times 4 is $3,200. $800 a week times 4 is $3,200 a month. Yeah, no, people usually don't work that much, unfortunately. Commercial photographer pay. Now, a student can earn $50 to $100 an hour just shooting like college grad photos and stuff. Professionals can make $200 to $500 plus an hour. Sometimes $1,500 to $10,000 an image. Wedding photography, holy cow, $1,500 to $10,000 a job. Senior portraits, $150 to $500 easily. Some friends I know make upwards of $1,000 minimum starting for high school senior portraits. Crazy, right? And then there's fine art photography pay. Cindy Sherman sold this for $2.7 million. Cindy Sherman was the first woman ever to break the million mark on a photo. Again, Cindy Sherman, first woman to ever break the million mark by selling $1 million mark by selling a photo. Crazy. Now Gursky, he's come along since and sold his stuff. Now sells for millions every time he sells something. And it's not necessarily what he's shooting, as it is that now a Gursky is worth a lot of money. Okay? It's like Louis Vuitton. Purse isn't really that much better, but Louis Vuitton is a thing. Gursky is Louis Vuitton. Richard Prince sold this for $3.4 million. Jeff Wall, $3.4 million for this photo. Gilbert and George, $3.4 million for this set. Cindy Sherman, this was the shot You guys that sold for over $1 million. And this is Cindy Sherman herself. She does her own self-portraits and is in every one of them. This is her. And her portrait of herself sold for $3.9 million. Here we have another Gursky. I get it. This looks just like the photos you take when you're driving 99 or 70, coming up to Chico from home or whatever, and you stick your phone out the window and you shoot this, and you're like, dude, Gursky sold one of these for $4.3 million. And it looks just like mine. Peter Lick, this is a controversial photo. I'm not even going to get into it because I don't like Peter Lick. People think there's a controversy surrounding this photo that Peter Lick fabricated the buyer and stuff, and just because he wanted a record of the most expensive photograph ever sold. So I think Peter Lick lied about this. That's my personal opinion. Okay. These are some diverse applications for photography. See that cinemagraph? This is a photo. See that woman holding it and stuff and doing all those neat things with her newspaper? Yeah. Crazy. Cinemagraph. A photography mixed with cinema. Amazing. Creepy, super creepy. Almost like the clown right there, right? Super creepy. I don't know if this works because dogs just do that anyway, right? They hardly move a muscle and their eyes move. This is really cool though. Okay. So just for fun, you guys, a guy named Pixel Crush. He put these stereotype, typical male photographers that every model knows. And he posted these online. Anyway, I thought they were really funny. And they sort of talk about the variations, not the variations of photography, but the variations of the people who do shoot these. And if you're a photographer, either male or female, you know these people. Okay, there's the team up where a bunch of dudes get together and want to photograph one person. And it's like a workshop. Okay, there's the boomer, self-explanatory, right? Yeah. Even down to the footwear. Accurate. Spot on. There's the elitist. The bro. The creeper. Come sit next to me, my pretty. Yeah. The artist. The GWC, meaning guy with camera. Which means every dude who's ever picked up a camera, right? And there's the narcissist. And the expert. Here's the typical female photographers that everybody knows according to Pixel Crush. Remember, you guys, the views expressed in this Pixel Crush's little illustration he did do not necessarily express my views of all these things. I just thought it was sort of fun because some of these things I've run into, and some of the stereotypes are actually true, especially about the male guys. I've seen a lot of those in my day. The adventurer, right? Amy Vitale. There's the basic boss babe. She sells actions and stuff and has marketing workshops and things, right? The shy one. The elder. The modelographer. Who's there, a model and a photographer? Met many of those guys. The professional. Stop blocking the bride. Put your cell phone away. I know those two. The acrobat. The hipster. It wasn't until I went to Coachella that I really found my way with photography. The momtographer. Everybody's a photographer, you guys, right? So, this week, you guys, we'll have an assignment, and I hope you guys make some good images, and we'll talk about them this coming week in lab, and I hope you guys have a great week, and the attached quiz, you guys will see under Quizzes for Whizzes. You can go through and take your quiz. It'll be open till Sunday at midnight. And this will be open till Sunday at midnight as well. But you won't know that if you don't look at this before Sunday at midnight. I will see you guys soon.